diagnosed with bipolar disorder earlier in life. But Cari's mother, Nancy Rainey, found it very odd when Cari texted her saying that she had moved to Kansas for another job and left her 15-year-old son behind with Nancy. Now, Nancy did help care for Cari's son, but this was very unlike Cari at the time. Cari's family members continued to try to reach out to Cari, and Cari would respond saying she did not want to talk and had moved on to bigger and better things. Cari's family assumed that she had stopped taking her medication and had relapsed pretty hard and had possibly broken up with Dave, and things had gone south from there. And so they thought maybe this was normal. But Cari's mom, Nancy, grew really concerned when Cari missed her own father's funeral. And at this point, Nancy decided to tell the police that Cari was missing. The police looked into the case and at first told Nancy that there was not much they could do. And it seemed that especially with what happened and that it was unsafe for her to be around him, especially when Cari was on the loose and out to seemingly get the both of them. The police continued to search for Cari, especially after the fire occurred at Liz's home. Dave continued to receive more and more threatening messages and emails, and he began to change his phone number and his email accounts. However, Cari would still manage to find him and send more and more threatening messages. In spring of the year 2015, a few detectives were assigned to Cari's case and began to look more and more in depth for her whereabouts. Now, Cari's car had been found abandoned at Dave's apartment on the last day she was seen in November 2012, but these new detectives assigned to the case decided to search the car more in depth. It was searched once before and nothing was found except for a single fingerprint that did not match anyone in the system. These two new detectives on the case found that there was blood beneath one of the seats, which led them to believe that Cari had passed away and was not really sending all of these text messages. The police decided to search more and more in depth through Liz and Dave's phones as they were still receiving threatening messages from Cari. The detectives reached out to a digital forensics analyst who, after a ton of research, found that Liz's phone had a few photos of Cari's car buried in the data, and Liz also had an app that would allow texts and emails to be sent at future times. Now the detectives were really wondering why Liz would have photos of Cari's car on her phone, and that didn't seem right for them. I believe the photos had been deleted, but they still were wondering why did she have them. They thought maybe possibly Cari had sent them to Liz, but they began to question Liz about this, and they asked why did she have Cari's car on her phone in photos. But Liz continued to claim she didn't know why it was there and that Cari was very, very threatening to herself and to Dave. Shortly after the police first spoke to Liz, Liz ended up calling 911. Liz told the operator that Dave's ex-girlfriend, Amy Flora, his girlfriend whom he shared 2 children with, had shot her in the leg and was trying to kill her. Liz survived the shooting and told the police that Amy Flora was actually the one who had been harassing her and Dave, and that Amy Flora confessed to killing Cari and then tried to shoot Liz, trying to kill her at least. Now, Liz told this story to the police so much for watching this video, and